guys, this is Zexonite. Welcome to the Zex Talk and welcome to Shiny September. This is a series I'm doing this month where I take a look at my favorite and least favorite shiny Pokemon of each generation. And today, we're taking a look at my favorite shinies from Generation 4. Let's get right into it. Number 5. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I'm into kick-ass Pokemon. And something that I love in a shiny is when the coloring makes a kick-ass Pokemon look even more kick-ass. I don't know about anybody else, but in my opinion, Vespiquen is super kick-ass. I like its original coloring, obviously being modeled after a bee, but there's something about bees that almost innately has a sort of cute quality to them. I feel like yellow and black stripes, while definitely evoking the image of a bee, still have sort of a bumblebee feel to them. But shiny Vespiquen is an orangey reddish color. I feel like this color makes it instantly more threatening and gets across a sense of danger. It also departs from blatantly looking like a bee while still retaining the pattern and a close enough color that you can still call it a bee. I think this color works really well, it looks cool, and it gives Vespiquen a very threatening aesthetic. Shiny Vespiquen is one kick-ass bee. Number 4. I think this one will surprise some people. I have a bit of a weakness with a Gen 4 Pokemon, but I'm aware enough to know that this shiny actually isn't very well liked. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the Pokemon understandably not being very well liked, but to me, I really prefer Regigigas as a shiny. To me, the original doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Regigigas was supposed to be ancient and the player awakens it from a long slumber or something like that. Like, to the point where it's gathering moss on its legs and shoulders. So, if it's so old, why does it look all shiny and new? That's what regular Regigigas looks like to me. Sure, it's got the moss, but other than that, it looks like a brand new Pokemon. That's why I like the shiny so much better. Sure, design-wise not much changes, but something about this specific shade of silver that they made it makes it look much older and worn, maybe even like its metal is stained or tarnished. That, and I'm not sure what it is, but this color scheme just jives with me better. There's something about the yellow that doesn't seem to go with the rest of the color scheme in my opinion, but the gray color seems to look a lot nicer and work better with the rest of the coloring. But maybe that's just me. Either way, I like how this coloring makes this legendary look like a thing of legends. Number 3. This is another Pokemon I like because it seems to make another variety of that Pokemon. I don't think it's as overt as it is with Sudowoodo or Breloom, but I think that concept still works with the Bronzor line. When certain metals oxidize or are subject to other chemical processes, they build up a layer known as patina. If you ever had a really old penny, odds are you've seen patina before. And when they're coated in patina, they usually turn black, green, or blue. One notable example of this is the Statue of Liberty. We all know her to be green, but actually the statue is made of copper. It's just covered in patina, so it looks green. And there are many notable examples of patina buildup in art. This is just an easy example. So my thinking on this is that Bronzor and Bronzong, being bronze, are naturally a metallic brown color, but due to a buildup of patina, they turn blue. But occasionally, they oxidize in such a way that results in green patina. That's why I feel like the Bronzor line falls within this category of Pokemon that have a shiny that acts as an alternate form. I feel like the shiny represents a different patina buildup. I don't know if that's what they were thinking or not with these color schemes, and if not, they're subconsciously genius, but I think that these color schemes work well with what the Bronzor line is, and I feel like the coloring for the shinies is very clever. Number 2. I don't have a good lead-in for this, so I'm just gonna come out and say I like the Shinx line. Yeah, the Shinx line is pretty cool. And I like the original coloring a ton. Obviously we associate yellow with electricity, but sometimes we forget that lightning can appear bluish or white. So I think having the Shinx line be a bright blue with yellow accents gets the point of an electric type across well, even if it's not the typical go-to color for electric types. But when it's shiny, we get that go-to color. I think that switching up the colors for various types in a way that still makes sense to the typing and design is a good thing. It keeps everything from looking all the same, and it keeps an element of unpredictability within the games. But it's still really cool to see the Shinx line in the traditional electric coloring. I think one thing that was especially brilliant though was keeping the parts that were yellow in the original still yellow, but a different shade of yellow. So you get the same patterning, but the Shinx line can still be all yellow. I like all three of these, but I feel like Luxray is the best of all of them, though I don't think I could leave Shinx or Luxio off the list. There's something about a primarily black Pokemon with these slight yellow accents that tend to make them look really badass. And you know how I feel about making a badass Pokemon even more badass. The shiny Shinx line may be a tad predictable, but they're definitely not ordinary. Number 1. I know I've been talking a lot about badass Pokemon on this list, so instead, let's top it off with a beautiful Pokemon. Of course, there are tons of beautiful Pokemon out there, but one that I feel like I tend to overlook is Cresselia. This might be because I never played all the way through Diamond and thus have never owned a Cresselia. However, and I could be wrong, but I feel like a lot of people tend to overlook Cresselia as well. I tend to hear Darkrai talked about a lot more than Cresselia. Maybe not a ton, but I hear a mention here or there, as opposed to Cresselia. I could be making stuff up, but I feel like Cresselia isn't as appreciated or as popular as Darkrai. But if there's one area Cresselia definitely has Darkrai beaten, it's in the shiny department. Darkrai has one of those shinies that barely changes. Lame. But Cresselia's shiny changes entirely. Now, despite my bias against pink, I really do like normal Cresselia. The light pinks look fine, and the more intense pinks are only accents, so it's not too intense for me. And those pinks complement the deep yellow and light blue colors of it well. Overall, a very cohesive color scheme. But as a shiny, it just looks so freaking cool! It has two of my favorite conventions of shinies, Electric Blue and the ever-elusive Cool Purple. And they both look really good together. Aside from that, it retains that deep yellow color which plays well with the complementary purple color it acquires. And the blue is potentially something that could go very wrong, but I think keeping it a lighter hue worked out well for it here. And given that Cresselia is the lunar Pokemon, I think that the coloring worked out with its species as well. You get this darker purple that sort of looks like the sky at dusk. There's the blue, which highlights from the moon in the dark can often look like, and of course, the yellow moon color. This coloring is just perfect in so many ways. I don't think they could have designed a color scheme any better than this. Shiny Cresselia has to be one of the most beautiful Pokemon in existence. That's it for this Shiny September's X Talk, but the next one will be out soon. Thank you for watching, hopefully I will see you in the next video, and goodbye to you all, sirs and madams, and everyone in between.